right, we are live. Another round, and we got a lot to do today. So I'm going to get right to it. I have to. I don't know if anybody can hear me, so I hope that's working. But I have to work on these press kits. We're sending out games to some reviewers, and they need games. So I'm the one. I get to print the pieces, and I get to cut the paper, and I get to wrap everything in bubble wrap and glue things together. It's so much fun, and paint the bars and paint the chips. Hoo-dee. So welcome one and all. Thanks for joining in. Thank you for it's a pleasure to have you guys here. Seen a lot of people from the group. That's great. If you have any comments or whatever, I'm just gonna be working. And I figure if you want to hang out, you want to talk about some stuff about the game, you have any questions about the game, you just want to talk about games in general, you want to talk about the gaming industry in general, you want to talk about whatever you want to talk about, we can talk about it because I'm here. I'm going nowhere. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap these guys in bubble wrap because that seems to be the most effective way to ship them. And so first I got to figure out I have everybody. So I got, let's see, I got Leroy gang, another Leroy gang, another guy. He's Leroy. Where's Quentin? Quentin's there. Okay. So we got Quentin. Hey, if you guys can hear me though, by the way, if you could leave a comment just saying, yeah, I can hear you, that'd be great. So we know that works. Let's see, we got Rough Rider 1, 2, and 3. Rogers, Kia, and Elster. All right. Elster's got kind of a messed up foot, but you know what? You're just going to have to deal with that. So, bubble wrap. Yeah, so I guess the guy from Forbes wants to play the game. So I'm kind of excited about that. And we did have Geek Dad got the game, got a copy, and he played it yesterday. Went over the roll. It was funny. I don't know what the review is going to look like. We'll see. He seems like a really cool guy. We had some really good communication, and he had some questions early on before he played the game, and I think we were able to clear it up, square it away, and then he played the game. And I remember him, and he even said he was like, man, I really like how your combat system is just like simple and it's like common sense. And I was like, that's interesting, because I was told by some experts that it makes no sense. So, to each their own. But we'll see what he actually thinks after he plays the game. Oh, John Hardy from the UK. Hey, John. Glad to have you in the party. John Hardy in the party. So, anything goes today. Anything we want to talk about? After I wrap these up, I wanted to show off. I want to show off the Sheriff Posse. I'm really excited about that. I'm really happy with how it turned out. That only took me like 30 hours for 2.5 minutes. It was crazy. Oh man, I can't wait, because it looks like Elsu's video is going to be like probably like 4 minutes long. So I'm not looking forward to that. Here we are. And I never used these labels. I was like, I'm never going to use these. Here they are. Perfect use. I'm sure there's probably a faster way that I could rip. You guys are like, wow, this is thrilling. We're going to rip paper. No, the point isn't that I'm making a show about ripping packing stuff. The point is I'm here, and we can have a conversation about the game. Anything you guys want to talk about. By the way, thank you so much for backing the game. We're resting a little under $95,000, which is awesome. So we are almost there. Facebook says not far from the first stretch. Now, we are so close to Father Franklin that's gonna be fun. And I'll be honest, I'm just gonna say, unlocking Father Franklin doesn't even really pay for Father Franklin. We just wanted to honor you guys for for backing us so strong, because I've seen a lot of comments in the a lot of comments on the page and in the group, about people who have been burned by their pledges. They've pledged Kickstarter campaigns in the past, and nothing happens. They get burned, and then they still go and they still back other games, other campaigns, and it's like, wow, thank you. Like you really you've been hurt, you've been betrayed, and yet you're willing to go in again and back us, and we've got no like. Who are we? You don't know us from Adam. So this is kind of our way. Releasing Father Franklin so soon was our kind of way of saying thank you for making this whole thing possible. Don't worry, we'll be fine. We'll be able to, even if we don't, even if that's all we do, we're gonna be getting a cool game for you guys. But I gotta tell you, I got some artwork from our artist Mikkel for some of the other expansions, and they're looking sick. And my 3D artist is gonna be pushing out some models apparently next week. So looking forward to sharing those with you guys. And I'm doing some Posse spotlights. These Posse spotlight videos. I'm doing the core game. The core game videos first, Sheriff, Rogers, the Leroy Gang, and Elsu. And then I'm going to do some of the expansion Posse. So you tell me what you want, what Posse, what expansion Posse would you like to see with a highlight video and first, and I'll do that one, because there's really no reason. John says, I love anything to do with the Old West. Man, me too, John. There's something about it. And I was watching this documentary saying like what killed, like a historian killed the Western genre when it comes to movies. I don't know if that's true, but he had some interesting theories. He talked about how the Western genre was. First, he said it was historians, but then he kind of said it was like sci-fi, the sci-fi genre, the Western genre. I'm not sure I believe that either. I think it's bad Westerns get killed with that. That's the thing about Hollywood. Like, they'll release a movie that's predictably going to fail. Like, you can see the trailers and you're like, that movie does not look good. And then it fails. And then like, see, people don't want giant monsters. It's like, no, we just didn't want that movie that you did there. Like, that's the movie we didn't want. Like when Star Wars, when they released all these Star Wars movies that were all garbage. They were all bad. And then the studio's response wasn't to, and they were bad because they were like pushing an agenda. Like, you just couldn't tell a story. You can't tell a story without having an agenda. Like, I don't go to movies to be preached at. It's why I don't watch Christian movies, Mom. I don't go to a movie theater to preach that. I go to a movie theater to be entertained by a good story. And these studios keep pushing these like political messages. It's like, get off it. And so then the answer wasn't, hey, maybe we should just focus on making a good story. Then they said the audience suffered from Star Wars fatigue. It's like, no, we're not. We're not suffering from Star Wars fatigue. We just suffer from bad movie fatigue. Like Snow White and the Huntsman. I told people don't go to see that movie. It's garbage, and you can tell from the trailers it's garbage. It stars Kristen Stewart. It's garbage. And I had people who ignored that, and then they posted on their Facebook wall. They're like, "It's so bad. I walked out. You're super smart. You walked out. See, I didn't walk in." So, I started reading The Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy since back in high noon. You gonna tell me how that Tell me how that is. I'm actually thinking about writing a book, writing a novel about Heinlein. I think that's because the plan is to actually do a comic book series, and we've been exploring how to really launch that. One of the ways to do it that we're talking about doing is like writing scripts for audio plays, and then after we start doing audio plays, then we can get our comic artists, whoever they are, to do the comic books based on the scripts. And then once they're done, then we take the pictures and we animate them. So then we have cartoons, which is really where I want to go with Honey. The idea is that the whole brand just kind of becomes this giant thing. That's why there's a lot more to it than just Cowboys. And I know there's a lot. The initial draw I knew was Cowboys, Wild West, and stuff. I saw that there was a guy who didn't like that the Pine Box Priest has a machine gun, mad machine gun. And it came down to, like, that wasn't even fantasy. That's just that it's plausible that could exist in the universe of Pine. And it's plausible that could exist if just a couple of things played out differently in real life. That could exist a lot sooner than it actually did, but it still existed way back then. But their point was that they wanted the best, they wanted like the untamed frontier West, like before trains and stuff. And I get that. I totally understand that and sympathize with that. So that's why that's why that's why we made a bunch of expansions. That's why the core game is pretty much that. The Pascagoula Ridge is pretty much that. And then a lot of the other expansions, the optional expansions, are pretty much like Grizzly Greenwood is a mountain, so it's right here. You could argue that that Bonnie Beecher and the band of Lawrence fit in that genre. She's got a little superpower, so maybe that's a little too much for somebody who's really big on that, on making sure it's real to life. There was a question about if there was going to be like a Pinkerton posse style posse, and there is, a government, like a quasi independently run, government backed, pre FBI style investigation agency. There's a posse for that. Agent House is in that posse, so that could work. And then expansions on top of like what's already there. So, like playing into what's there. So you got like Elsu's father, the LaFloisse. He doesn't break many. He doesn't break the genre. He's still in it. What's going on here? You see this? Can you see this here? Let me see if I can. There's the focus. And then we have Rogers. There's an expansion that's going to be his artillery sergeant. His artillery sergeant is going to shoot off like cannons and stuff. So that that sticks with the genre. So there's plenty of policies and expansions that stay within the genre. But we also want this thing to be more than that. We want it to be and at the plan, like as I said before, the plan for High Noon is to go all the way into left field Weird West, across all the genres, get crazy, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen right away. It's going to be in very, very, very slow and small and steady intervals. It's just going to be a little of weird every little bit. So it's kind of like frogs and boiling water. You're not going to notice. By the time it gets to super weird, you'll have been eased right into it, and also you don't have to get those expansions. You just stay right where you're comfortable. Let's see. It says, about Blood Meridian. It's apparently based on a historical events where a Wild West gang murdered Native Americans portrayed on the Texan-Mexican border. Is there like curses and stuff? Is that how it works? Is there like hints that they could be first, like King Tut, opening King Tut's tomb, and whether or not it's up for your debate, but people died in weird ways because they did something in theory, like right after they did something they probably shouldn't have done. Let's see here. I gotta say, the artwork on these cards is fan-freaking-tastic. Before we do this, I want to jump over to the spotlight. Some of you guys jumped in for the spotlight video, and we're what are we, 15 minutes, 16 minutes in? So let's get over to the spotlight video. I'm really proud of this. This is a video we just put together. I'm going to put together a whole bunch of Posse's videos, like I said, Elsie's father, and then Sue, and then Roy Gay. Then I'm going to do some like rural videos and stuff. But now, let me see if I can share the screen. Yeah. Here we are. All right. So here it is. Here's the Posse spotlight video. Let's watch it. I'm gonna mute myself. Can you guys hear? The video? I don't know if you. I'm gonna have to use my mic. Let's see.
Well, Honeymoon's Posse spotlight. Sheriff Garrett, Deputy Gates, William Gary, Sheriff of Sweetwater Gulch, small town on the fringes of the great state of Saratoga. A man of few words about Garrett, where he came from or why he chose this godforsaken slice of civilization's reprobates, only that he upholds the law with unflinching single-mindedness and a powerful six-shooting canister. His freshly recruited deputy, Isaiah Gates, is driven by righteous indignation against lawless vagrants and a vengeance for those who murdered his wife, putting anyone on the wrong side of the law on a deadly side of his big iron. These two lines of the law make up the Lawman Posse, which protects the citizens of Sweetwater and anyone else who may be threatened by countless ne'er-do-wells of the West. Though only a posse of two, they more than make up for their small number and strength of devastating attack cards and the most health to any one gun-toting character in the game. Sheriff Garrett is more than bullets, keeping the law tight with strict regulations on the sorts of blue lightnings and black-eyed Susans finding their way into town. His special card, I'll Need Them Papers, allows the sheriff to search anyone's hand and discard two cards, which could drastically sway the direction of any firefight. But should an unwise outlaw opt for a curly bill spin, Garrett is more than prepared to return fire, allowing him to attack immediately after defending. Of course, Deputy Gates would not be an au-fait sidekick without powers of his own. With a particular sour taste for lawbreakers, his long arm of the law attack card does additional damage to characters of the outlaw faction on their character sheet. And if that weren't bad enough, Deputy Gates' Dead or Alive card deals double damage against defenseless desperados, potentially assigning their one-way ticket to Boot Hill. With these abilities and particularly strong attack cards loaded into their deck, the lawmen are a force to be reckoned with. But they do not come without disadvantages. A posse of only two, their actions are incredibly limited. If surrounded, they can find themselves running shy of cards and health in short order. So choose your moves wisely. Take cover whenever possible. Never let the enemy catch you in a dry gulch, and there will be a brass star waiting for you at high noon.
How cool is that? Get that out of there. Was that cool? I like that. That's cool. All right. So let's get to this. All right. I am not a fan of these slicers, but they need to make a slicer. Well, you can't see it. They need to make a slicer like you can replace the blades. You're probably like thinking, idiot, they already have it. I've never seen it. They definitely don't have it. This is how the game is made. Right here. This is how all the prototypes are made. I sit, I spend hours and hours and hours. It's like, why don't you get some to do that? Because they don't feel right. That's why. I've done that. Who pays attention to the details? So I was reading that review and or one of the reviews, and the person was playing the Lawman Posse, and as you see, like they got some pretty strong cards. Like, how can they possibly die? Well, you outnumber them, you surround them, and then you every turn just play as many cards as you can. That's how you beat them. And that's how that's just how it works. And they only have two characters. They can only make 2 actions. People don't realize that. They think that they'll just and they're afraid of the sheriff and the deputy, which they should be. You should be afraid of the sheriff and deputy. But the danger is that the sheriff and deputy just kind of whittle down with 2 actions every turn. But it's like I don't know how to describe it, but you're basically facing somebody who can attack you twice, and you can attack them 5 times, and they may be able to block you. And that's the other thing. It's like people get afraid. They get shy because they'll attack the sheriff, and then the sheriff will do return fire, which is a defense card that allows them to attack you back. And then people are like, oh no, I don't do that. I would get attacked again. But the sheriff is not made of those cards. Like there's only like 2 of those in the deck. So once he uses them, that's it. He has to cycle through his entire deck to get them again. Now, he can do that pretty quickly if you let him, because if you're not doing anything, if you're not attacking him, then every turn he's on 3 cards until he runs out of cards to draw, and then he reshuffles the deck, and then you can draw those cards again. But if you attack him steadily throughout the game, he's not going to have time to do it. He's not going to have time to catch his breath, and that's really how you beat. That's how you beat Sheriff here. He's powerful. He's scary, but there's only one of him in his deck. And the person, the viewer, was playing on the Roy gang. The Roy gang are not particularly strong with that, but that's not the point. The four are strong with attacks, and that's not the point. They don't have to. There's 5 of them. All they have to do is just throw out cards. Eventually, Sheriff Garrett is going to run out of defenses, and he's just going to have to start taking those hits. And this is the other thing, you got to be tactical in how you use the characters, because if you attack with your Leroy gang member first, the gang member, the henchman first, and Sheriff Garrett spends his defense against them, then you come around with James, like somebody like James, and James has a rifle, so he's shooting rifle rounds. And this goes, actually, you can double up with Quentin, because Quentin has fanning fire, so he can actually attack twice with his pistols. So you can get your 3 henchmen and Quentin to unload regular cards at Garrett, and then after he's done defending, after he's had defense cards with that or whatever, then you have James come in and James starts attacking, and every time the sheriff takes damage, he's going to take an extra point of damage. And if he can't, defend at that point because he's already used his defense cards, he's out of luck. You can do a lot of damage. You're probably not going to kill the sheriff right away because he does have a lot of health. Come on, what is that? There is something there. Every once in a while, it gets the track and messes up the cut. But you're going to send it back to Liquid Blues, and that's devastating enough. That is you're never you can't really completely. I mean, you could probably draw like canned beans out of a loot crate, but usually that's fine. Usually you're not gonna draw off. Funny enough, the Leroy gang has cards in their deck, whiskey shots in their deck that allow them to heal, so the Leroy gang can stay alive. That's the thing. It's like people, you don't need to worry about Sheriff Gary getting around and licking his wounds and healing and stuff. You got to worry about the Leroy gang. The Leroy gang can stay alive. Nobody else gets to do that. Not in the court game anyway. We start bringing in other that have healing cards, but and like Elsier's father, his posse, his warband has a shaman who heals their members. It's not a common occurrence. So that is my suggestion. Somebody who's playing the Leroy gang or any kind of weak characters, and you're going up against a strong character, you cannot stop holding on to your cards until you're ready to kill the character, until you're ready to kill the other person. That's not going to happen. Just attack, and then attack from a defensible position. Help defend. It's breezing right on through. Let's see. Okay, cool. I really want to know how this last play test with this reviewer. I'm scared, but I'm also kind of excited, hoping that they enjoy it. I made a comment on my page. I was talking about meeples. I'm thankful that I'm not the only person that thinks this, but I don't understand why meeples are a thing. I don't get it. I remember the first time I ever heard it, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, we're making meeples. We make meeples." And there's this dude who's trying to make molds, silicone molds for meeples, and I was like, "Wow." And they're like, "Yeah, we're trying to make silicone molds for meeples." And I was like, "I don't know what a meeple is." What the heck is a meeple? It's such a toddler word. It's so toddler. And I was like, so I just got curious about it today because I'm like, where the heck did meeples start? What is it? I saw one. I know what they are. I knew what they were once the guy told me, but I was looking at some game pieces online and I saw it. And the first thing I was thinking was, who in their right mind would be like, I'm going to make a game and I'm just going to, you know what? Screw actually putting quality and thought into it. I'm just going to make a little tiny wooden stencil, and that's the game piece. Joe says, "Howdy, Dwight." Howdy, Joe. I don't already the idea of a game piece that has really no personality whatsoever and almost no effort in the design offends me. I'm not easily offended by much of anything. I mean, I've been called every name in the book, and it does not offend me. But seeing that and watching it, there's a whole industry of it. People are like, yeah, hey, do you want meeples for your game? No, I don't. I don't want meeples for anything. I want no meeples. If you could have, if you could give me a genie so I can wish meeples out of existence, that would be great. A world without meeples is what I'd like to see. And so when he tells it, I'm like, it just sounds like a word that a child would use. That's what it sounds like. So if it's a child's board game, great. I have no problem. It's a child's board game. But if it's a board game with functioning adults who pay their taxes, have like careers to cover the mortgage, they vote. These people vote and decide public policy that affects my life. If those people are like, yeah, let's get some meatballs. Like, no. And then I found out, I looked into it today, and it turns out, meatballs was a term, was a word that it's, oh my God, it's more enraging than, like, I wish I didn't know. I wish I had not looked it up. But apparently, there's like a group of people, like a small group of people that were playing some game that uses meatballs. And I don't know if there's a term for the game piece, but this person in the group coined the word. You see, they coined it. Coined means you made it up because you're so clever. And it was this lady who coined it because it's my people. It's my people. My people. It's mine and people. It's people. Ugh. I can see you, like, you're sitting at a table and you're having some beers, and you're just being stupid. You're being stupid on purpose because every one of those situations where, like, you're cut back, you're cut loose. We as adults are required to be functioning adults, very serious, not allowed to laugh or joke. I mean, just look at Twitter. You're not allowed to laugh or joke or have a sense of humor, or as they say, you're not allowed to human on Twitter, and it's spreading. You're not allowed to human pretty much everywhere. So, every once in a while, every other Saturday or so, you want to get the guys together, you want to get the girls together, you want to get your buddies together, and you just want to throw a few back and human a little bit, crack a joke, be a little stupid, be a little inappropriate, whatever it is, whatever the social norm says not to do, you do, and you just do that. And so sometimes that equates to, I'm just going to come up with words that are dumb. I'm just going to come up with dumb. Let's just have a contest of who can come up with the dumbest word for something. And that's where something like that is appropriate. I'm going to do something entirely unnecessary. I'm going to take the word my and first of all, my peoples. Who says that? Like, what are you? Are you a dictator? Is this a game of, like, Venezuelan rulers? Is that what's happening here? And I get it. Like, these are my people. These are my people. Like, okay, that's fine. Okay, if that's the route you want to go, okay, if that's the rabbit hole you want to dive down, is, well, my people is common vernacular in the fantasy realm. Okay, fine. But in that fantasy realm, who on that deity's green earth would allow for such heresy to then take those common words in that fantasy land and then combine them into a dumb-sounding sound? My lord, yes, Cedric, your people are here. My people? Ah, yes, my lord, your peoples have arrived. My peoples have arrived. Yes, my lord, your peoples have arrived. You are to announce them, acknowledge them on the main balcony. I shall acknowledge them on the main balcony. What shall I acknowledge them as, Cedric? Oh, of this I'm not sure, my lord. I've not given it a thought. Perhaps you could acknowledge them from their country of origin, an awesome Towndia. Yes, awesome Towndians. That is what they are. Yes, my lord, that is exactly what they are. They hail from Awesome Town, and that would make them Awesome Towndians. Yes, but did I not refer to them as Awesome Towndians on my greatest grandfather's 97th honorarium, Cedric? That is just true, sire. Thou didst refer to them as awesome Towndians on thy grandfather's 97th honorarium. Perhaps a new name for them shall be appropriate. Yes, I agree with this. I agree with this advice, Cedric. Perhaps I shall think of a term on my way to the Southern Balcony to address the awesome Towndians. Yes, good idea, sire. Good idea. Yes, I'm full of them. Yes, you certainly are full of it, my lord, my liege. Yes. Ooh, you, Cedric. Yes, you did. Thou didst say they were mine people. Yes. 'Tis what I said, me lord. 'Tis what I said. Yes, Cedric. Yes. Suppose, Cedric. Suppose I was to combine those words to call them Miples. Sounds a bit odd, don't you think, sire? Yes, Cedric. Yes, Cedric. Miples doth sound odd. Perhaps have you shortened it, sire? Shortened it just a bit, just a mite. Just remove a syllable or two, or thrice. Yes, Cedric. A syllable of thrice removed, it shall be. Miples. Shall I ask what you do to the Southern Balcony? No. This is fine. I know the way to the Southern Balcony to address the awesome Howdians. Awesome Landians. For the acknowledgement. Yes, you know. Awesome Howdians. Muppapilia? No, not Muppapilia. That sounds like a fruit. Michaels. That's what I'll call them. What was that? Cedric, yes. Michaels. 'Tis a bit strong, don't you think? Yes. Perhaps a bit weaker. Yes, weaker would be good, sire. You don't want them getting the bright idea that they might be strong enough to overthrow you. Good one, Cedric. Good one. Strong enough to overthrow me. I am a cute on my side. That you are, Cedric. That you are. A weaker sounding Michaels, then, shall we? Good. A weaker sounding Michaels. Good. Excellent. Meeples, I address thee in the land of Awesomelandia. You were once Awesomelandians, but today thou are meeples. I got nothing. It's just a dumb word. It's a really dumb word. And the fact that you have people who hear that and go, that's so cute. Everything's a meeple. No, it's not. Meeples are not a thing. And the thing is meeples, like the game piece itself. Oh, shoot. Okay. I didn't go too far. She's over. The thing is the whole concept of meeple. It's a game piece for games that don't have time to come up with game pieces. And it's like, if you're going to make a game, spend the. If you're already going to come up with a game, just take the time. Just take the time to make actual game pieces. Risk did it. You don't see Risk running around with meeples, do you? Then please don't tell me there's a meeples Risk. Is there a meeples Risk? I have to see. And this goes into meeples for peoples. They didn't even spell peoples right. Upgraded enemy meeples. What? Ugh, stop using this word. I'm looking at this. I thought maybe if I looked up with risk. Because the thing is, risk was like one of the first games that got me into games as a kid. And those, they took the dude is like a you know, some sort of British looking, European looking soldier with a fancy hat, a little poof thing on his head, and he had a rifle. It was like a whole thing. Like there's so much detail in this little teeny guy. They weren't like, oh, I don't have time to come up with a. Oh my gosh, just don't have any time at all to design a game piece. I'm gonna make the laziest. It looks like a gingerbread. Looks like a gingerbread man that made by somebody who doesn't know how to make gingerbread. But now you've got people literally. So I thought maybe what if somebody came up with a risk? It's a risk with meeples. You know it's going to happen because this is literally meeples, and the popularity of meeples comes from the same kind of brain cancer that comes up with other terrible ideas. So you know they would come with it, but this upgraded enemy meeples. They're using it as a term for things that aren't the gingerbread guy. It's invading, guys. This is a cancer. It's invading. We have to chemo this. Like, right? I'm not trying to be funny. It's so laughing matter. None of their things. Not meeples or the metaphor, but we got to do something, guys. Facebook user says, "Ship me one, Dwight, so I can come with money in July." Oh, I know who that is. Why would I ship you one? You're coming down here in July. Just bring the money. I'll just make it out of here for you. Anybody still have a good idea? What a I don't know. Anybody have a good idea where I can upgrade my orc, troll, goblin meeples? You've already named them. They're orcs, trolls, and goblins. Why did you add meeple to the end of it? Stop it. Stop. Jared Watson. Just stop using the word. It's a bad word. All right. Can't post comments to someone. Oh, I see. Anyway, welcome to the party. We're talking about meatballs. Ugh. Terrible word. I can't. Hey, here's the thing: is like you think I'm crazy because I'm focused on the meatballs. The thing is, it's not about the meatballs. It's not actually about the meatballs. I don't care about the meatballs. It's about the whole process of how it was popularized. How did this dumb word become adopted into the common gaming vernacular? By a bunch of weirdos. That's how. So it's not about the meeples is just a symptom. The fact that there's a bunch of weirdos in this industry that are ruining it, this nonsense is the problem. Let's see here. All right. This is all of this paper is for like one deck. This is the church. This is the steeple. Come play high noon and meet all the meeples. No, no, there will be no meeples to meet in high noon. None. It's like there's gonna be like segregation and everything. This is the Wild West, like nobody. Meeples do not have rights in high noon. They're gonna be the underrepresented class, that's for sure. Don't eat the meatballs. Terrible. Guys, I got the artist sent me pictures of the next Posse coming in the pipe, and it was really. Oh my gosh, so good. So good. It's really cool when you see like, so our artist, Miguel, is in the Philippines. And there was at first there was like a little bit of a language barrier, and so there was a little bit of like hard to understand certain things, but we've gotten a whole lot better now communicating with each other, and it's gotten to the point where like we're using references that we get. Like we'll just throw out different references and we totally get them. And what's cool is the guy, the artist, is a legit gamer. He showed me. He said that he and his buddies played a game of camping, and they created this massive terrain for like this dungeon, and it was amazing. It was like one round, like they did it one night. They played Dungeons and Dragons one night, and that was it. And they did all this effort to create the terrain, and it's beautiful. Like it's all 3-dimensional, highly detailed, painted. They had torches lit up. His light up was on the torches on the walls and flickered and stuff. And they shot a production. They did an actual production. We shot this video, the table, the dungeon. They like zoomed in on stuff, painting shots. They did like amazing lighting work, and they had fog going through the catacombs and stuff. It was beautiful. In all of my years playing D&D, I never done any kind of setup like that. And I did a campaign with the D20 rules. There was a D20 game called Beats Not Words, and can't hear anything. I can't hear anything. Interesting. It's let me see. Let's see something. Testing 1 2. Test 1 2. Can you? Well, I don't know. The other Facebook user was hearing it. We were talking. We were just talking. I mean, you can't hear. Just send that out. Can you hear me now? See what happens. Anyway, the guy had incredible talent. He's a gamer. Like I was saying. Okay, so I did this. Did this D's Not Words campaign, which is like a superhero D20, and modern day and stuff. So I was printing out like all these cutouts, these cutout patterns for buildings and stuff. I was printing them out and gluing them together, and I made like this whole city, cars and stuff. And we never. There's no sound. What the heck? I don't know. Let me see. Let's see here. Gary Drake. Okay, Nick. Okay, so I don't know. No, yeah, it's coming through. I just looked. Somebody help Gary. Somebody help Gary. So I did this whole like 3D city setup, and we never used it. We never even used it. So and we played that game for I don't know, like a year straight. And these guys, this artist of mine, did this amazing dungeon setup for a one-day shoot. Like that's a gamer. That's a gamer. That's somebody who's passionate, And then kind of part of it was kind of like he can't wait to play this game. I can't wait for him to play the game. But it's just another one of those things where like games. It's amazing what all we have in common. What everybody has in common. It's really kind of cool. Games bring the world together. But having him on board and our communication flow is getting so much better. And this new Posse, it looks amazing because he gets it. He totally understands what I'm coming for. You guys are listening. That's cool, but I mean, feel free to have. I'm just rambling. You guys want to talk about anything? I know that there was some conversations going around about like there was somebody talking about value in boards, and I was thinking about doing a video on the board tiles and how the board tiles actually work. Because one of the things that was said was like, if you guys did it this way, then people could build towns and build buildings however they want. But Drake got some suggestions here. Close it out and try coming back in, or maybe check your Bluetooth and make sure you're not connected to something. That's a good point. The thing about the boards is they are entirely customizable. You can't really customize the buildings yet. It's certainly not something that's going to be in the core game. But the Bandera blocks come with a bordella, and the bordella has a balcony at the top. There's a bunch of doors that go somewhere, and the idea is that you can add rooms later, like you get expansions with rooms and stuff. But as far as the whole map, these are board tiles. Like every building is a board tile, so you really can create your own town. The question was, why don't you just make walls and windows, so that walls and windows, and balconies and stuff, so that people can build their own buildings and stuff. And that I say, it's not a bad idea. Okay, it's not wrong. It's not a bad idea for a game. It's just not what High Noon is all about. Because the more that it's already takes a long time as it is, or too long. It already takes almost too long as it is to set up a map. And I did that. I set it up to be as easy as humanly possible. You just put the things down and butt them up together, and there's your town. But when you're like, come on, kids, let's get together. Let's set up the table and spend 4 hours designing buildings and stuff. 1 hour, 30 minutes. I want them to be able to pull the thing out, put the tiles out, and go play. Start playing. That's what High Noon is all about. High Noon is about playing the game, opening the box, playing the game within 3 minutes. That's the point of the game. So some things have to take a back seat for that objective. Now, the beautiful thing is that the rules of High Noon are pretty much customizable, and there's first of all, we have our constitutional, our bill of rules, as I call it. Basically, anything that's not specifically mentioned in the rule book is up to the table to decide. So you can come up with your own rules. You can come up with your own mechanics if you want, if it's not specifically mentioned, and then just try it out. See if your mechanics actually add value, or if they whatever. Go have fun. Go to town. But outside of that, for the most part, the mechanics work on just about anything. So I saw this one guy made like a whole town, like a whole 3D town with buildings and stuff. And he was wondering if the game would work with the town. And he said, yes, it's really easy. It's super easy. As long as you're dealing with a 1-inch grid system, so every it's a square grid, every square is an inch. So that's the first thing that needs to happen. Doors and windows need to occupy their own squares. They can, if you want, just make sure that the windows, just make sure the windows occupy one square. If you have windows, just make sure that they occupy different squares. Is basically what I'm trying to get at. So you can have a square, you can have a door. We have double doors, and so they take 2 squares. If you want a giant door that takes up 4 squares, or a giant stained glass window that takes up 6 squares, by all means, go to town. Just as long as they take up the entire square, and that's really just to keep things super easy to just start playing. So let's see. Question: when will I get the additional rules for the expansions to translate? That is a good question, Facebook user. So guys, be sure that you follow the instructions in the on the StreamYard. If you're coming in, if you're making comments on the Facebook page, on the Facebook video, that's you're not doing anything wrong. It's just that this is what I see. I don't know if you can see it, but it says Facebook user for everybody. So I think there's instructions somewhere on how to create an account or something so that I can see your face and I can see your name and stuff. I know who you are. So just make sure you do that. I don't know, but I'm assuming that you are somebody that we're sending the stuff to. I don't know yet. Is the answer? I'll get on that. But it's far away. Just chill, just relax. We got it. We'll send it over to you. Truth be told, I haven't written the expansion rules. I know what they are. Like everybody who's playtesting right now knows what the expansion rules are, but I haven't written them into a rule book, and I haven't put them into like a really pretty document. So there's nothing there to translate yet. But as soon as it's done, if you are on our list of translators, as soon as any document that we have finished is going to be sent to you. And the main rule book is not finished. So if you've got the book right now and are translating it, fluff. Because I have to add some stuff to it. And I talk with Becky, who's our illustrator, our copy illustrator. I have to talk to her about some words we have to add. So if you've got something, just hold on. Just hold on. What is that? It did it. It did it. What is that? What is that thing that's messing up my cuts? Okay. Facebook user Nick says, how many people come with the all-in pledge? Ha ha ha, just scrolling. Just for that, all of them. You're going to get every single meeple. I'm going to smother you in meeples. I'm going to bury you in meeples. They will say, here lies Nick underneath these meeples. Couldn't afford the game, so he got these for free. You're welcome. I just came up with that. What were we talking about? So as far as using using other terrain and stuff, as far as making your own buildings, you totally can. Just make sure, and you'll see the pattern in all the different board tiles. You'll see what I'm talking about. Just make sure that squares are covered, and you can use whatever you want. But as far as new goes, I'm not doing major 3D stuff, and maybe we can talk about that. Hope Bonnie had a good Mother's Day. Okay, listen. So Bonnie's not a mother, so she doesn't get a Mother's Day. I was thinking about which women do I use? Which woman do I use or women do I use? The only woman right now that is a mother, I've gone through them all, there are quite a bit in high noon. The only one is Alana. So that's who got it. I did not forget Bonnie. Matter of fact, I had a long talk with Bonnie. I said, listen, if you want to be on one of these Mother's Day things, you've got to stop murdering men. You have to actually get with one and have some kids. Like, settle down. Maybe give up your life for crime. I can't give up my life for crime. There's too many men out there abusing women. I gotta put them down. All right, well, you know what? I'm sorry, but hail science. You gotta have a man, or you have to at least be with a man in order to have a kid. So that's she didn't want to. She just wants to kill all that she sees. So she's not going to be alone. That's her fault. It's not mine. And her mother was murdered. That's the other thing. Her mother was murdered by her father. So there's pretty much no way is Mother's Day going to be a happy day for Bonnie Beecher. It's pretty much a bad day for Bonnie Beecher. So there's that. It's always awkward. Let's see. So far, the gentleman was cutting. I'm still haven't gotten through the cards for the first game. Like these are all the cards for the core game. So if you think that there's not enough stuff in the core game, you are sorely mistaken. There's a ton in the core game. There's a ton of assets. One of these days, her boots are going to walk all over me. Let me tell you something. Facebook user who may or may not be Nick. I don't know because I'm not looking. I already know what happens to Bonnie Beecher. I know I knew the count of the hair on her head before she was born. She may not like it, but I'm her god. Sorry, guys. I'm just saying. Lower G, little G. I'm Bonnie's god. She ain't gonna walk away with me. If she wants a happy ending, that's a happy story ending. Better watch where she puts her boots. That's all I'm gonna say. No, Bonnie is a tragic villain. She's one of my favorite characters. I cannot wait to really realize her in the story in the universe. She is, and another character. So later on in the story, her brother comes along, and he's another fun character. His posse is a fun group of characters. His posse and misfits are a fun group of characters. But that's just that whole thing is just a tragic story. It's gonna have a lot of comedy in it, but it's a tragedy. You see, Bonnie Beecher wasn't even supposed to be introduced so soon. Bonnie Beecher was certainly not supposed to be in Yellow Pledge. Her posse was intended to be like lore, like you knew about her, but you didn't know who she was. You didn't know anything. You didn't know what about her. You just kind of like knew her name. Her posse would come in much later in the story, but there was a call to action. We had to put a bunch of stuff in the game, so here she is. So think of it as like a sneak peek. If we unlock her now, that's going to be awesome for you guys because you can play with her. But I actually unlock her. She's the only flash. So many all getting her. But I'm not gonna release her into the retail space until much later because her story doesn't begin until long after Pascagoula. She's got nothing to do with that story. And there's plenty of characters that do that I would like to introduce. But we had like people that were like, "Where's the women? Where's the women? There's no representation." Like, really? I'm not gonna back your game until I see ladies. Well, there they are. There's the ladies. I had this whole amazing storyline played out, and they were gonna be something super special. But no, couldn't wait. No. Because it's not actually about who the character is, it's about what they are. It's not about inside, it's about what's outside. It's like they've lost their way. Like society has lost its way. Whatever happened to the whole it's what's inside that counts. I know Jim Carrey said this is something ugly people say, but I mean I'm a big fan of judging on the content of character, not the insert vain exterior image here. But some people are like, if you don't have this kind of character, then you can't represent it. It's like, come on. How many Asians do you think like in the 70s wanted to be Lando Calrissian? That's all I'm saying. The answer's all the answer's every single one. They didn't care that Lando Calrissian looked purely like Colt 45. They didn't care about that. They liked the guy. The guy spoke. He was all cool. That's what they wanted to be. They wanted to be cool. And a business. They want to be a cool looking superfly businessman that owned a city in the clouds. That's what they wanted. No, but he doesn't look Asian, so he can't represent me. That's not how it works, kids. That's not how representation works, millennial losers. You weirdos. Representation is an internal thing. What drives you? What's your passion? What's your ambition? Where do you come from? What's your history? And not just like what's your history like that you have no control over. Like what are some things that define who you are? I think what it is, and when I say that, I'm not talking about passive. I'm talking about like what did you do as a kid that defines who you are today? That's an active history. Like there's too many people who are married to this passive history because they're just a bunch of victims. They're a bunch of non-contributing zeros in the world. When I say what's your history, what happened in your childhood? Okay, tell you what happened in my childhood. I was introduced to games at an early age. I love playing board games at an early age. Before that, I was bored. My cousin and I, my family used to have these family reunions all the time because that's what families do, right? And my family would have these family reunions. My cousin would come over. We had a really good relationship. We were like best friends, and he and we were kids though. We had nothing in common with the adults. So the adults would go downstairs, hang out, and talk about boring adulty stuff, and we would be stuck upstairs with our toys. Which sounds like, yeah, that's great. You're a kid and you have toys. You should be thankful. But we're kids. We're not thankful for anything. So we're bored. So we go downstairs and we're like, Dad, we want to do something. We don't know what to do. So my dad's like, hey, why don't you play with this camera I have, this VHS camera. This is back in the day. This is like the 80s. You didn't just have a camera. I mean, having a camera was a big deal. These were cool. Oh my God. Like today, everybody's got a camera on their phone. 10 years ago, everybody, a couple of people, if you had a DSLR, like a Canon camera, you were awesome. Today, people are making feature films on their phone. But back then, if you wanted a camera, like you had to have a ton of money. And it was this big hulking machine, and you had to put VHS tapes in it. Most of you guys probably don't even know what VHS tapes are. These big pieces of plastic that would constantly get chewed up. They have tape. They had tape in the center. They get rotated in it. I don't even know how the science worked, but basically they had these cameras that could print. I need an air can. They had these cameras that could print this imagery onto a tape and then sound as well. So then when you're done, you have to put this big plastic tape into a VCR. Anyway, so for us, it's like a marvel of science, and we're like, oh my gosh, the possibilities are endless. We can create our own. We can tell our own stories. We can, the universe was right in our grasp. So we went upstairs and we made movies with toys. And the first movie we made was Ninja Turtles 3, Shredder's Revenge, because Ninja Turtles 3 had not been, there was no Ninja Turtles 3 at the time. And Shredder won, he killed everybody. And we played with the little Ninja Turtle toys. And then we had Playmobil. We had a lot of little Playmobil castles and stuff. And so we made this series of movies about a group of pirates that crash land at this castle on the shore, and the castle people harbor them. And then there's a dragon. They crashed because they got in a fight with a dragon, and so the pirates have to team up with the knights to kill the dragon. And it was a silly little movie, but like that sparked this whole kind of ongoing thing. Like every year, we would look forward to getting together to make a little movie with toys. And then I would go to his house, which was like 6 hours away, and we would make movies with toys there. And then we would have our friends over. We'd make movies with the G.I. Joes and stuff. We were always making movies at that point. At that point, it's like any time we were getting together, we were trying to make a movie. And that was my childhood, was telling stories with toys and playing games and telling stories. And so when I look at today, who I am today, I am who I am today in large part because of my childhood, but largely because what I did in my childhood, what I sought after in my childhood. I sought after telling stories. I think that's the meta. is that I was a storyteller, and I awokened that as a child. And most people are so fixated on their, like, what happened to them as kids versus what did they do at a young age. What did the world do to them at a young age versus what did they do at a young age? So they grow up and they have no identity. They have zero identity to their name. They have nothing that says who they are. And so because they have nothing that says who they are forever, the only thing they can look at is, what do people look like? Who looks like me? That's who that represents me, is that person that looks like me. Like, no. You if you want representation for you, and that is and this is you, then I would say here's your representation. Sorry, not sorry. Like, become something. It's time to, like, especially if you're an adult, it's time to adult and figure out who you are. And there's this the old stories, like the hero's journey stories that are thousands of years old. That's common canon. Like, that's how stories are told for the longest time. And now and that defined heroes, like these people who didn't want to be heroes. They didn't want to go on a quest. They didn't want to do things, but they had to. You know, they eventually have. It's like that call to action, and then through that call to action, they discover who they are by the decisions that they make, and they learn from their mistakes. They make mistakes. They're costly. They lose. They lose big, and then they have to overcome that, and then they win at the end. 3-act structure: boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl. Right? So you start out, and then you meet whatever, you get the big good thing, and then you make a major mistake, and then you have to learn from that mistake. All of the greatest stories in humanity are that. And now we have this whole culture. This whole culture of passiveness, this whole culture of zero identity whatsoever, and they're the ones writing the rules now. They're the ones that are writing the universes and the stories, and they suck. They're garbage stories. There's a fantastic channel on YouTube called Filmento, and what he does, he does these anatomies of failure, where he breaks down these existing films and these storylines and why they didn't work. But then he offers, like, how they could have worked. What could they have done so that it could have worked? And almost every single one of them is, they don't work because the hero is passive. They don't work because the hero is never doing anything. It's always something happening to the hero. And so like this new Hellboy movie, he never actually is the deciding factor in the game. Like, it's everything else around him that pushes him into different situations. Everything else around him drags him to the next scene. It's never him using his own agency to get to the end. He doesn't even want to. He doesn't care. You go to the Star Wars Rogue One that everybody loved until they realized that it's a gutless movie. Is about a girl who has no agency in the entire thing. She's arrested. She's rescued. She's put into a team, like there's and then the team goes off and does stuff, and she's just part of it. So she just goes along with it. Like, there's never a part where she is the one that's in. She doesn't drive the story. What was another one that he was talking about? Anyway, these things don't work. They make for bad. Oh, Pirates of the Caribbean, the new Pirates 6 movie, or Pirates 5 or whatever. The one where there's another Jack Sparrow. And they keep talking about this Jack Sparrow, but they're actually talking about somebody else. And the whole point is like, he doesn't want to find the Fountain of Youth. He has no desire to find the Fountain of Youth. So he's just kind of drugged along with all these other people. Meanwhile, there's this other guy out there called Jack Sparrow who's actually looking for this Fountain of Youth. I would much rather get to know that Jack Sparrow. So it's all about passiveness. And the reason why this keeps happening, and I can be Dr. Phil, but my theory is the reason why Hollywood keeps pumping out these movies and books where it's just passive characters that have no agency, and they're just drug along, and everything just happens to them until the story ends. The reason why that happens is because they're written by people who are passive people, who are not, who exist in that environment. And they're just writing for their own audience. And it's just breeding more and more and more of these passive non-heroes that we then root for. Like I say we collect it like we don't, I don't. But society is like, oh my gosh, what a compelling character. It's like, no, it's not. It's not compelling at all. They're completely passive. There's nothing that defines them. But this is what we have. We have a society of these people. And so then those people come to my game, come to my universe, and they start demanding representation. They don't even know what representation means. And I'm not going to give them that kind of representation. I'm going to create compelling characters in a universe of High Noon. And if that character speaks to you because of who they are, then there's your representation. And all these people that were demanding representation in the form of, and I'm like, fine, here's Bonnie Beecher. And they're like, oh yeah, see there, now there's representation. It's like, you realize she's a villain, right? Like you realize that she's a tragic villain. Like you feel for her, but if she represents you, ooh. Anyway. That was a rant. That was a rant. But that's I mean, that's part of it. That's part of how I do, guys. If you don't like it, I don't tell you. But that's my commitment to you guys. I don't know if I'll succeed or fail in the stories. My commitment to you is that the characters are going to be, the universe of High Noon is going to be compelling. The characters are going to be compelling. This is more than just a board game. These people are on journeys. I will say there's somebody who saw the Righteous Rogers video. Like, oh man, I love Teddy Roosevelt. That's why I bought this. This ain't your daddy's Teddy. I'll tell you straight up, Rogers is a villain. He's a bad guy. He's a very, very bad guy. And he's another one that's like kind of a tragic, he's another kind of tragic character because, I mean, less so because you get to know him when he's already fallen. He's already, on that dark. He's past the dark path. He's on the other side of it now. He is full on bad guy. But his journey there was kind of tragic, which I'll probably try to explore in the comic. But he's not. He only gets worse from here, guys. He only gets. He only gets worse. The Eastman family is probably going to be the most heroic so far that I've got. Just because the history, not only the history, but like what they do, they're not out to slay bodies. They're not robbing banks. They're blowing up banks, and they're blowing up the banks because the banks took their property. But they're not stealing anybody else's. Now you could argue, well, what about this? It's in the safe that doesn't belong to them. It belongs to other people. Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's why I said they're the most heroic, but they're still kind of villains. Everybody in the game, that's the thing, everybody in the game is, except for, I'm trying to think, who never crosses the line? I don't know, because Deputy Yates, he's really supposed to be the character that everybody can see the universe through. So he's not particularly villainous. He doesn't have a sordid past. Like Garrett has a sordid past. We just don't explore. We just don't get into it. It's always hinted. It comes out in drips. People that are introduced in the game that know his history, and they refer to it before they die. But Gates, Like, there's the one time where he lost his school, and that was against the cartel. So he's not really. If there's anybody looking for, if there's any representation, that would be Gates. I mean, you got the Leroy gang, and James doesn't even want to be there. He doesn't even want to be in the group. He's talked into it by Quentin. He just wants to get some. He wants to get this treatment for his wife who's dying, and Quentin's like, "Here's how we can do it," but he doesn't want to do it. He's a good shot. He's a sharpshooter, but he's not an outlaw. He is. He's drug into it again, but it's not what he wants. So he's sympathetic. Oh shoot! Did I do that wrong? What the heck happened there? Yeah, just do that. There's a couple here. So Rogers has men on his team. There's a guy on his squad that kind of realizes he bit off more than he could chew. But that's more of a story like in the comic. In the game, he's just a rough rider. Elsu, he wants to avenge his people, and so he wants to get the Americans out. He wants to send them back. It's his whole thing. He doesn't understand how the world works. Is his problem? He doesn't understand. Like, there's nowhere for people to go. They're not going anywhere. These colonizers, they're not. They're just people. Like, sorry you were on the back end of the age of conquest, but like this whole thing about taking other people's land was going on for like thousands of years overseas, just like it was happening here with the Makwa and their rival tribes. But they sorted it out overseas, and now they're coming over here to just doing what they do. There's nowhere for them to go. They're not going to get on a boat and sail, 3 or 4 months back home and risk dysentery and whatever. They have to drink, fermented everything the entire way because they can't drink the water. They're going to lose like half their family, if not all of their family. Like, they're not going to do it. They're here, Elsu. Like, they're not going anywhere. The best thing you can do is learn to live together, but that's going to require a merging of the greater culture is going, not the greater, like, whichever's best, but like the bigger culture is going to become the culture that is the most dominant. So unless you can meld with it, if you can't adapt, then you're going to butt heads until one of you gives. And that's what his father, Sitting Bear, his father's trying to figure it out. Like, how can we safely merge our cultures? In the meantime, if there's one thing that you can say about them, if they weren't given enough time to figure that out, the government pretty much put them on the reservation, and they kind of sped things along. So, Bear has his hands full trying to figure out how to turn that whole situation around without selling out his whole entire culture and his people and their religions and their traditions and all that stuff. And here's Elsu, who's young and full of youth and testosterone, and he's being egged on by Ika, who is even more so. And they're just sick and tired of seeing their people abused. And then when they see Sitting Bear makes a mistake, he thinks he can play the Americans against each other during the Civil War, so he harbors some Confederate soldiers, and that turns out to bite him in the butt because they're soldiers. Like, they're not to piss on soldiers, but like, these guys have been away for a long time, so nothing but violence, probably going to die tomorrow. They see a beautiful woman, and they want to do something. So they have their woman in the camp, and Elsu kills him. And Key helps hide the bodies, and Key is like, we gotta do something. This is not sustainable. So he goes off to solve this problem that his dad won't solve. His dad's not strong enough to solve. Well, it's not. It's not that his dad isn't strong enough to solve the problem. It's not that his dad isn't willing to solve the problem. It's the problem is more complicated than it's more complicated and nuanced than Elsu or Key can understand at their young age, lack of maturity, lack of understanding. So Elsu isn't. It's not that Elsu's a villain, but he's going about everything the wrong way. He's an early hero. He's a hero before he's earned the title hero. That's another thing. Like these new writers, they basically give heroicism to people who haven't earned it. Carol Danvers, Ray Palpatine. Sorry to spoil. And these people are just heroes because they're heroes because they felt that somebody knocked them over and then they stood up again. Like that's not what makes you a hero. That's a very boring one-dimensional character. You didn't earn any. You earned nothing. Elsu is a character who is a hero in the making, but he has not earned it yet. So he's not a hero. That's pretty much Elsu. And that's pretty much the character. Quentin, totally a hero, totally a villain. He's a bad man. Kiia is, again, he's not a villain, but he's an old way of thinking of things. He's an old way of approaching things. He has zero remorse for anybody that is not his people. So, like Elsu has rules, no women or children, somebody's not fighting you. If somebody's not aggressive, somebody's not trying to kill you, you don't try to kill them. But at the same time, GTFO of America, because it's my land, kind of thing. So basically, like a very respectable get off my property. By the way, all of it's my property. Whereas he is like, hell no, these are oppressors, these are invaders. Let's kill them all. But he follows along with Elsu because Elsu is, he's the prince, and they grew up together. Elsu's older a little bit. He's the leader, so he follows those orders. He can't, which is often. He often falls into bloodlust, and he just like rage, and he just goes to town on people. This is kind of cool. This little live stream is kind of cool because it's giving me an accurate read on how long does it take to prep a kit. How long does it take to prep? You never really know. I mean, can, but like I never knew because I would just kind of like fit in time when I could. So it takes about 4 hours of Posse to print a Posse. So I can print the woman with the Rough Riders. So there's that. I have right now 2 printers working at any time. I have a third I have to prepare, but I don't have to prepare right now. So let's just say it takes about 8 hours to print the minis for the. Then you got to print the chips of gold, and we can say it takes about. It's like an hour and a half to print one batch of gold. So you can print 2 batches of gold, or one batch of either golden chips. I print a batch with Elsu, and I print another batch on its own. So let's just say 2 batches of gold chips each. So you're looking at 4 hours total, because I'm running two batches at a time. So what do we have? We're at 12, like 16 hours print. Going on an hour and a half cutting cards. And then I have to character sheets I got to do here, and I also have to cut the I have to make the loot crates, which somebody took my super glue. I had super glue in the house. It no longer exists in the house. So like, forget it. I'll just make that after I do all this stuff. Anyway, it's probably going to take like, okay, so 18 hours. So we'll say 18 hours for that. Let's say, I mean, I'm almost done. So we'll say like, it's like 20 hours, 20 to 24 hours to produce the whole like core game. And that's not counting the board tiles, which thankfully one of our friends printed off all of the board tiles, cut them. They had a sign company, I guess. So they were able to print and cut all the board tiles. And that's something else. I mean, talk about later is that the tiles are not made of cardboard. People have asked, kind of insinuated their thought that the board tiles are made of cardboard. They're not. The board tiles are usually made of a polystyrene. It's like it's going to have a gloss coating on a gloss print on it. So it's going to be a very vibrant is what the board tiles are being made. And people have asked me why, like, why not just do the cardboard? And I initially did it this way because I wanted the colors. I wanted the vibrant colors, and I love the durability and feel of polystyrene board. I found out that it was cheaper to produce. So I don't know why everybody's not doing it. It's cheaper to produce it, apparently, than cardboard. Then I was looking at somebody shared a video of another game that somebody released where they went through like 5 different factories for their boards, and they ended up with a German factory to make their boards, not even a Chinese factory. They did a German factory, and the reason why they did a German factory is because they had like some sort of patented method for applying glues and stuff, and like it hadn't occurred to me that it was an issue that I was running into when making my prototype boards. You see, my prototype boards are made with, they're made with cardboard. It's a foam board, just project foam board, and it gets really humid here in Florida. So if I leave those out anywhere outside, they immediately start bending like a bow. So what I did was, and initially I was like super gluing the images on, and then when I went on a trip to Mexico with the family, and I took the game so we could play test it. By the time just from the airport to the hotel, the humidity in Mexico had caused the paper to just pull itself away from cardboard instead of blowing and bubbling and stuff. So I got spray adhesive. So I was using spray adhesive everything now. But anyway, even still, the actual board can bend. It can actually bow and bend. Whatever. The elements have a massive effect on board games, but they don't have any effect on polystyrene. Like, they have no effect on polystyrene. So the more things come out, the more facts I get from the industry about board, the more I'm like, it's just not going to be what our game is. It's going to be a polystyrene game. It's going to be beautiful. It's always going to be super thin. Like it's going to be about this thickness. Like that's going to be the thickness of the board. And then somebody asked what is the material for the tournament map, and we're actually looking at doing just terrain maps this way. But for the tournament map, we're going to use like a mat, kind of similar to a mouse pad mat. I forget what the material is called. But that way you can fold it up, roll it up, whatever, and it won't crease. Won't bend, won't crease, won't rip. So that's really nice. One more deck after this, and the cards are done for this one round. Let me go ahead and shrink wrap them and pack it up. So I'm super excited. This copy is actually going to go to Forbes. So Forbes wants to. I hope they like it. Guys, if you want to contribute anything, by the way, I mean we do that before. You can just make a comment in the section and talk. I don't mind saying stuff, just blabbling. But if there's anything you want to know about the game, any comment, any kind of things you want to talk about, that's what these live videos are really about. I'm going to find excuses to do the live videos just so we can keep the action going. But if there's anything that you want to contribute to the conversation, there's nothing off limits. So by all means, comment away. Otherwise, you're not hurting my feelings. So I got plenty to do here. And I kind of wanted you guys to see. You guys, I wanted to give you guys a chance to really see what goes into this, what I'm doing. Because people, I remember when I first started making the game. When I was first working on the game, people were like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I could do that." It's like, can you cut paper? Good, then you can do it. Well, I can't make it good. I mean, a good game with like real rules. Yeah, it's hard. It is hard to make a game with rules that make sense. But the first iteration of High Noon was total garbage. It was the worst. It was so bad. Playtest was so bad. I wanted to kill myself. That's hyperbolic. I didn't want to kill myself, but I was like, I wanted to give up right then and there. The first game, I was like, I was wrong. This is there's nothing salvageable from this. If it hadn't been for everybody else who played the game and was like, I like this. What if we did this? What if we did that? I was like, oh, okay, cool. People have ideas. So, if you can just suffer through the bad versions of your game, and there's going to be versions of the game that suck. Like the first iterations of your game are going to suck. And if they don't, if you think that your game doesn't suck in the first iteration, you're not being honest with yourself, and you've created a terrible game. And you're going to be really let down when nobody likes it. When nobody who isn't your friend or family likes the game, your game is going to be garbage. But that's what you do. It's like any first draft of anything. You do better. You just improve, constantly improve. And it's just a matter of tweaking is easy. Tweaking is easy. Because what you do is you just play the game. You power through it. It's going to suck. You're going to power through it. And then you're going to be like, okay, that was a terrible experience. Why? Why was it a terrible experience? Oh, because of this. Okay. How can we solve that problem? And it's not going to happen. Well, some of it might happen right away. Some solutions may present themselves right away, but for the most part, it just takes thinking about problems and solving them. It's literally the science of producing just about anything. In this case, it's a team. So anyway, people would say like, "Oh man, I wish I could do that." It's like you can't do this. But this is what it takes. It takes on a Sunday when everybody else is like grilling out and drinking beers and relaxing, taking naps, re-energizing, whatever. Like that's when you are going to be working, and you're not going to be working on things that are fun. There's nothing fun about what I'm doing right now. There's nothing fun about this. But this is how you do it. Cut paper, cut pieces. The funnest thing was my 3D printers. But even that is lost its shine. Like now it's like, ugh, God, I gotta scrape pieces off the build plate. I gotta put gloves on, these annoying gloves, and then I scrape the pieces off the build plate, which is a pain in the butt. And then I got to get this stuff into a wash, either an IPA wash, which there's a shortage of IPA, so I can't find any. So now I got to use mean green, which doesn't, I don't think it really does anything. Then I got to cure it. I got to take the stuff outside. I got to dry it, and then I got to take it outside and cure it, and then I can actually print with it. And I pray to God this entire time that none of the pieces break or whatever, because then I got to do it all over again. And it's so messy, guys. Like the print is so messy. So it's no fun for me. I think printing is not fun. They say it's a hobbyist thing, and I'm like, ugh, why would anybody do this voluntarily? So there's nothing fun about making a game, but it's a grind. This is what you do. Cut paper, measure, cut. All right. Okay. Oh shoot! Still have to cut the character. See, I gotta cut the characters. Let me get that. Let me get those. I'm not going to use this for the character sheets because one, it's harder. I like the character sheets to have clean lines. Like the cards get frayed when when you use that thing. James, 1, 2, 3. Quentin, yep. Rogers. Okay, cool. So I like to use just a traditional, spray and a ruler. I don't like. It's just better. The result is better. Quentin, please don't break. I have to chip you. So this is my. I don't know if you saw, but in the Kickstarter campaign, first day gave away those awesome stands. That's one of them. And I was using the pieces for that, but now those pieces are going to go in the next kit that I create. This is one kit, which I just have to make sure is done today. Once this is done, once I'm done with this, then I get to work on another video, another edited video, which is another Posse spotlight. Yay. I guess I don't have to. Somebody could say, like, well, you don't really have to do this. You're right. I don't, but it's all about the experience. I want somebody to be able to get this test kit, open the box. Okay. I don't want them to have to set up pieces. I don't want them to have to cut their own paper. Look how nice. Hmm. Hmm. Wow. Somebody just asked if they could make if they could do a video, a review video. That's awesome. You know, and it's funny they were asking in a way that was like hoping we were okay with it. The last thing I want to be is a legal company, like I'm not a legal company. The last thing I want to be is a bunch of like, no, I'm not. I don't want to have a bunch of attorneys chasing people down. We didn't license you to use. We didn't allow you to use. We didn't give you permission to say you were playing our game. That's not what. That's not what we're going to go about. I mean, there is a bit of licensing. We're going to be like there's a area that will be licensing stuff. That will have to be all legal, but for the most part, if you want to make a fan video for fire away, and if you want to put it on YouTube, let's say you want to dress up as Colonel Rogers, like you want some shootout with you know the sheriff and the deputy, and you guys all cosplay at it, and then you want to do YouTube ads, I'm fine. This is here I am giving you official clearance. You're not allowed to say that I paid for you to do that. You're not allowed to say that you're associated with High Noon unless we enter into a contract. But I don't care. If you make a cool video and you want to run some ads on it, and let's say you get 1 million views and YouTube pays you, a penny per view. I would hope that you maybe throw me some of your pennies. Like, hey, thanks for giving us this material and to inspire us. And we can make this video. I'm totally down with that. I will not turn down your pennies. I'm totally awesome. I'm not going to. If you want to, if you want to review the game, you want to review a video or something, reviewing the game, I am all of it. There's no such thing as bad. There's no such thing as bad press. You don't even have to watch the game. I don't care. That was the thing. One of the viewers clearly didn't like the game, but I loved their review. I thought it was cool. I like the pictures they did. I like how they narrated the story. I like what they said, and I like how how they described it. It's like what the game was. The way that they broke it down was really cool, really clever. Right? So yeah, if you're out there, and I'll shoot you a message. But if you're watching, that is totally fine. I'm honored that you would want to you'd want to shoot a video reviewing the game. That's totally. Really want this done so I can. I want to get back to editing videos. I really don't want to get back to editing videos, but I need to. Move to any corner. Let's see. So much cutting, so much paper. Still working on this one kit. This is one game, guys. If somebody was saying, "Oh, all you get is like a couple of things in the core game." This is the core game right here that I'm cutting. All this stuff is in the core game. Plus the minis, plus the gold, plus the chips. I think there's even windows and doors. There's a lot of stuff. I'm not an artsy guy. I'm not an artsy guy. Some people enjoy this kind of thing. This just goes to show you, if you can do this, if you can cut paper, you can make it work. And if you really like birds, you can make a board game that wins a bunch of awards, apparently. That's a reference to the last stream where somebody showed me that there's a game called Wingspan. The entire game is about bird watching. And it's not like, and the thing is like, it's really not. It's a, they call it an engine building game. I don't know. Engine building sounds self-explanatory, but let me just see something here, because I'm actually curious about that. What is engine? Let's see. What is an engine building? Let's see. These are games in which you build an engine, something that starts producing points or goods more and more as the game goes by. Yeah, yes. That's exactly what it is. Settlers is the big one, yeah. That's the big one. That's what I kind of thought. Is that you build something and it becomes automatic. And that's really what the word game is. That's really what it is. It's deceptive because it's predicated on birds and bird watching. It's really about resources. And the artwork is really good, so there's that. It's just not my cup to me. So the whole point is, it's like you can literally build a game about anything. You can make a game about literally anything. Because the thing it's about is not what the game is. And that's actually kind of the thing about High Noon, is that High Noon is not, okay, I'm probably going to take off some accuracy, but High Noon is not a Western game. It's not. It's set. It's set in the West, but it's not a Western game because it's not about the theme. High Noon is not the theme. High Noon is about the engine, the game system. That's why the very first thing I did was I defined the game system, and then I built the game out. The game system is called White Label Game, the White Label Game System 1.0. And it's designed this way so that you can literally apply it to any industry, any genre, anything you can think of. You can take the system and apply it to that. And so what I'm doing is the whole point of the expansions is to introduce different ways that you can use the system, different ways that you can apply the game system. And that's why, another reason why a lot of the expansions go into the Weird West, because I want to show that this system can be done for a fantasy setting, it can be done for a sci-fi setting, it can be done for, whatever modern day setting, whatever you want. That's why some of the expansions go to Weird West, which is another reason why I chose the West, because Weird West, awesome. If you're gonna mix genres, you gotta have a West. You gotta have the West in there somewhere. You have to. One of those genres has to be the West. Nothing beats Cowboys, kids. Sorry, but it's not about the game. It's not about the theme. It's not about the West. The High Noon is about the game system. So much like Wingspan, it's not about birds. It is. It's there. It speaks to people who love birds. They love the artwork of birds, but it didn't win awards because of the birds. It won awards because of how well it applied its game system. It's not fun because it entices people because people love birds. It entices people who love birds, but you come for the birds, you stay for the game. It's pretty much what it is. So we're High Noon. You come for the Cowboys, but you stay for the game. You stay for the engine. So I wanted to get, I wanted to get machine gun. I wanted to get like how would a machine gun, how would a rapid fire attack work in High Noon? That's why I brought in Pine Box Priest. How does martial arts work in High Noon? That's why I'm bringing. Eventually, there's gonna be ninja and samurai. I knew like how does swords, how does karate and sword work, kind of thing. But I'm slowly leaking that in with Sitting Bear's warband with Kiya's father, who fights with a javelin, and he uses a bunch of martial arts moves as well, grapples, disarms, and stuff. So by the time you bring in the ninja, it all makes it's all there. Like you're used to it. It all makes sense. It's all fleshed out. The samurai with their swords, same thing. He brought it in both games. I want to do sci-fi stuff. How does how does jump gates and grenades and things work? That's what all these expansions are about. And in fact, there's I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. One time I had a game sent over to somebody. I had to do it the very next day. So I got everything together. I set aside a whole day to work on it. I sit down to start working. Put the ruler down, lay down, start cutting, and immediately I cut off the tip of my phone. Or whatever it was. It killed the whole day. And my finger. That was yeah, we're almost done here. We are almost done. Let's see. Ah. Hmm. One more guy. And then I really have to get started on the next video. Well, I got to get to Walmart is what I have to do. Go get some more super glue. Ugh. Meatballs. Right. Okay. So these are character sheets. Let me make sure TV is good. Yeah, thank God. Last purpose of disaster. Got it. I gotta cut these. This is a loop, so I gotta cut them into the. All right. We're gonna order the store. But thank you guys for tuning in and keeping me company. It's nice to not be alone. um, but yeah, if you guys want to talk about anything in the group, let me know. Tell me what it is that you're all into, and what you maybe what you'd like the next video to be about. I'd like to bring in some other creators into the next video, so look forward to that. But otherwise, don't be shy. Come hang out in the group in the Facebook group, and we'll see you there. Peace out.